We got hards on. We're going to the end.
Mid-season report. Oh man, I almost forgot about this sport, Formula One. You know, the Premier League starting up again. It's been good, but certain something's been missing in my heart. Certain je ne sais quoi, a certain depression actually. Because usually, you know, every Sunday I have my head in my hands because of Lando Norris fucking me over in some way. Fucking me over is a key word there. Fucking me over. I just want to clarify that's what's happening there for Lando Norris and me. And I just haven't been having that for a while because we got a little break at the moment. But in that time, don't worry, I'm here. And I'm going to do the perfect mid-season report. I've got, you know, the races here and everyone's results, and I'm going to list them up from 21st to 1st. That's right. I remembered you doing. I didn't write this one to 20. I wrote this one to 21. Pull one out for doing. And we're going to go through the drivers. And we're going to see who's been the worst, who's been the best. And it's pound for pound. Obviously, it's a different machinery. So the actual standings, you could argue, aren't the most accurate representation of where the teams actually should be. The players actually should be. The drivers would be the accurate word to describe them. And we're going to go through and see how accurate this list should be. I'm going to fix it a little bit. So, starting off at last, do I think Doohan should be 21st? I think he should. I think he should. I think a guy who's had 5 races or however much he had and then got dropped should be last. Now, I actually think points-wise, they're very similar in the sense that they both have 0. So, you know, pick your poison. But to me, I'm just like, I have seen Colapinto, more of Colapinto. I just like him, or maybe I'm being biased. Jack Doohan's dad wouldn't agree with me, I don't think. But hey, look, even if Jack Doohan's dad wants to compile, you know, a bunch of graphs and bar charts and pie charts and fucking, you know, little diagrams of why Doohan's better by 1 or 2 places, if the pie charts and diagrams are showing that Doohan finishes 13th on average and Colapinto's been finishing 15th on average, guess what? I don't give a fuck. You know, it's hard to get me wowed by a guy who's still doing the bare minimum. Like, if you're finishing 13th and the other guy's 14th, brilliant, but neither of you win the points. At least from Colapinto, I know that there is something special that can come out now and then. And maybe his qualifying's been better, Colapinto. But I'm going to just whack Doohan in 21st and whack Colapinto in 20th and call it a day. So far, I'm sticking with the standings as they are. Going up from there, do I think Behrman should be 19th? Where's Ocon? Ocon's 10th. I didn't realize the gap between Ocon and Behrman has been this big. I thought it's been pretty equal. Just from like not paying attention, but just like, if you had to ask me, I would have said they were probably pretty close. No, they're not. Judging by that alone, I'm going to keep Behrman in 19th. I feel like Behrman's had some decent qualifyings. Maybe that's why I've been a little bit like thrown off by thinking Behrman's done better than he has. If I look at the drivers above him, I would have put him above Bortoleto until recently, but the last 3 races, Bortoleto has like came alive. He's like, I don't know, found something. The car's got a little bit better. He's got a little bit more confidence, and he's proven himself not to be the worst rookie. Because for a long time, I was kind of thinking, yeah, Bortoleto is the one none of us are thinking about, and like, being in a shit car doesn't help. But very similar to like George Russell winning F2, but then going into the Williams. Bortoleto won F2 and then went into the kick, which is like been the shittest one so far. But I will keep Behrman in 19th, and then I'm going to slap... I think here's the first place where I'll differ, because they've got a Red Bull driver in 18th, but I think I'm going to whack a different Red Bull driver in 18th. They got Sonoda. It pains me to say because I like the guy, but I'm going to put Liam Lawson. Sorry, Liam, but it's just not been a great look of a season. Although I don't agree with you necessarily being hired for something and then fired 2 races later, I feel that's kind of bullshit. He did finish like dead last both times, and it didn't look like things were going to change. And he's been getting beat comfortably by Hadjar. And they are both rookies, but Lawson has kind of had like 6, 7 races more than him going into this season. And even though he's only 2 points behind Hadjar, I feel like Hadjar like out qualifies him 80% of the time. And I just think Lawson will be doing a little bit better. He's kind of like Bortoleto in the sense that his last 3 races have kind of been his best of the season. I think he finished 6th not long ago in Austria. That was really good. But I'm gonna whack him 18th and cool. And we're just gonna shake hands there with Lawson. Okay, just don't ask too much. Going up from there, Now do I put Sonoda in here? Because if you look at Sonoda's like finishes compared to Verstappen's, they're not great, obviously. I mean, since coming into Red Bull, how many points has he actually picked up? Let me check. 10. He didn't get a single. He was only at Red Bull for Racing Bulls for 2 races this season, to be fair. Um, so he's picked up 10 points. In how many races has he been at Red Bull this season? That's important to check. He's been at Red Bull for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 10 points in 12 races. He's averaging like just under a point a race. I mean, look, even though it's shit, right, the amount of points he's been getting, at the end of the day, if we had to compare that to what Lawson would be doing in the, like, this is not great looking, doesn't wait for great reading. It still shits on what Lawson would be doing, what Perez would be doing, probably what Daniel Ricciardo would be doing. It's just the way of that seat at the moment. So I don't necessarily know if I want to put someone over there. It just depends. Is there anyone else I could chuck there instead? Bortolero has more points in a kick. I mean, so does Hulkenberg. But that is so wild, man. How is that? Sorry, how has that even happened? I need to see this in writing. Where is he point? In the last 4 races alone, he's picked up these points. He got 8 in Hungary, 4 in Austria, 2 in Belgium. I mean, so in 4 races in a kick, he's picked up more points than Sonoda in a Red Bull in 12. Guys, how shit is the second seat? Because I just need to know. Like, what? I just need to know. Like, I really need to see, like, Leclerc getting the second seat, Hamilton getting. Like, is the second seat that bad, or are you guys just fucking around now? Okay? Because we've been acting like the second seat is, like, undrivable. The pool we're looking from is, like, Lawson, Sonoda, and I like Sonoda, and, like, Ricardo for, like, a test drive, and, like, Perez. Like, I need to see a higher quality level of driver. Perez isn't shy, but, you know, he could have just been falling off with age. But, like, I need to see a higher quality level of driver, in, like, just to know, like, if it actually is undrivable. Like, would we see Leclerc getting it and just match it with Verstappen? Because, like, I might have to wax a note here. Because for a rookie, which is what Bortolero is, I'm happy with those. It's not exactly like it's like the last. It was a one-off race, but he just scored big. Last 4 races have been doing decently. I think he's been qualifying decent as well. So I'm gonna go Son Dar in 17th. Sorry, Sonoda. Although there's actually another driver with a pretty big gap to their teammate who has gone very under the radar, who I actually might put in here at 17th instead. And I think it's more entertaining, so I'm actually going to delete Sonoda's name and put a certain different man in here instead. And that man has got a lot of fans on TikTok, and I'm not one of them. It's Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz in a Williams, you're thinking, oh, okay, he's got 16 points. That's decent. That's decent. Oh, Williams don't. That's usually the amount of points Williams get across 3 seasons. Well, no, Williams actually capable this year, and his teammate has 54. Now, point-wise, that might not be the biggest gap between a teammate, but percentage-wise, it could be, because obviously that's a similar amount of points between Leclerc and Hamilton, for example. But you got to look at it. How do I even word this? As a percentage, like, for example, if you're in a terrible car that barely scores points and someone scores 8 points and the other person scores 0 points, then, like, even though it's only an 8 point gap, whatever, that is a way bigger gap between teammates than if you're in a quick car and there's a 20 point gap. You know what I mean? So 54 was it to 16? 16th. That is shambolic. And I really wanted Albon to score more points than Sainz, but I couldn't. This was a mere few months ago when doing my predictions. I think I uttered the words, I'd love Albon to beat him, but I don't know if I could see a world where that happens. This guy was going toe to toe. This guy, I know he was like a rookie at the time, and well, not for the whole time, but his first 3 seasons. But he beat Lando in 3 seasons. He then's gone to obviously before that, I think it was like Renault and stuff. Competent, capable, beat Hulkenberg and shit. Um, Went to Ferrari, beat Leclerc across the season. Don't know if he beat him in both seasons. I think he was there for, was he only there for 1 year or two? Either way, like the season where Verstappen was winning every races, wasn't he the only other race winner not from Red Bull or whatever? Vegas was it, or maybe it wasn't Vegas. Singapore. It was like a nighttime race where you have to go slow. I think it was Singapore, and I was just like, I don't know. Like he's been in the ring with the big boys. And he's coming up against Albon. I know Albon like knows the ropes, but how much does that matter? And Albon has just been comfortably better. He's been out qualifying him, and I was saying I couldn't see a world in which Albon beats him, let alone fucking wipes the floor with him. Sainz has to go 17th. All right, then I'll put Sonoda. So congratulations, Sonoda. You've been promoted from 17th to 16th. Big whoop. Sun Oda. Had to sound out there. 15th. Who have we got left? We could whack Bortoletto in now. And I think that will be the place where I whack him in. Because I'm not seeing another guy yet who I think deserves it. It's funny. Here's the thing about pound for pound lists, right? You could make a case Lando Norris should go in here at 15th. Because like, oh, for the car he's in and how he's performed and the things he's let slip and this and that. You can make the argument. And that's the beautiful thing about the lists. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put Bortoletto in now. Because I'm not getting swayed that heavily by recency bias. But I do think the last 4 races has been enough to say, you know what, as a rookie in what has been a shitbox for the most time, you have made a decent go at it. And ultimately you got 14 points. You're only 2 points behind Carlos Sainz. That's wild, man. So Bortoletto's going to go 15th. 14th, I'm going to go... I mean, who's available? Who is available? I guess Gasly. I feel like Gasly's been doing a decent job. I mean, do we try and make a big, bold statement and say someone like Hamilton? He's about 40 points behind Leclerc. Leclerc out-qualifies him pretty regularly. He has got over 100 points, though. He has won a sprint race. Let me actually look through Hamilton's results real quick. Finished 10th in Australia, then he disqualified in China, 7th in Japan. This is not taking any sprint races into account. 5th in Bahrain, 7th, I don't need to say where there was at, 7th, 8th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 6th, 4th, 7th, 12th. He's not got a podium this season. I know Leclerc has, but how many? Leclerc got a podium in Saudi Arabia, in Monaco, in Spain, in Austria, and in Belgium. That is pretty damning stuff. Because there was a season, the middle season or the first season was it, that Russell beat Hamilton on points. But I think Hamilton still had more podiums that year, and that means something to me. It's the fact that Hamilton's got a single podium in normal Grand Prix. That's a bit of a worry. And I kind of do feel like that Alpine car sucks. And I do rate Colapinto a little bit, and he's got 0 points. Like, okay, let's look at Colapinto's last 5 races, right? 18th, 19th, did not start 15th, 13th. And let's look at Gasly's last 5 races. And Gasly's last 5... 19th, 10th, 6th. So 2-point finishes there. 13th, 15th. And before that, he's got an 8th here. He's got a 7th, 11th. I think it's a bit of a... No, it's not. It's not a Verstappen situation. I'm not saying the second seat is hard to drive, but I do think he's got a terrible car and he's getting a decent amount out of it. He's pulled off a 7th in Bahrain, an 8th in Spain, a 6th in Great Britain. I think Gasly is doing a really good job. I think this has been one of those seasons where I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say, you know what, Gasly Gasly's reminding everyone that he's a decent driver and he makes the most out of shit cars. He's one of the best midfield drivers you can get because he can make the most out of a shit situation. And I kind of want to reward him for that. I don't want to put him in 14th. And I love Hamilton. But I think Hadjar's had a great season as well, especially as a rookie, and not one who was massively on my radar. I could make an argument. You know someone we haven't talked about yet? Not talked much about either of the fucking Aston Martin boys. Want to know why? This is surprising to me. I'm finding this out right now. They're both on 26 points. Now, is that because Lance Stroll's massively stepped up, or is that because Alonso has massively stepped down? Is it damning? Is it an insult in itself to be on the same amount of points as Lance Stroll? Because I don't really once for a second believe that Lance Stroll has gained some interest and some effort this season. Has really been working hard in the off season to make that step. And he's I think if you're on the same points as Stroll, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's because you fell off and not because Stroll's went up, just by Stroll's character and shit like that. And then we look at Alonso's a DNF, 11th, 15th, 11th, 15th, 11th, DNF, 9th, 7th, 7th, 9th, 17th, 5th. Fifth place finishing your most recent race makes it hard for me to say you've had a terrible season. You've not set the world light. The fact that you and your team are on the same amount of points makes it really hard to know where the car's at, who's doing well compared to the other one. It makes it hard for me to make an argument that either of them should be below Hamilton. I'm going to put Hamilton in 14th. And I want you to know it breaks my heart to do it. But I'm trying to make statements here, boys and girls. And I do just think when I think of Gasly, I think he's had a good season, him. And when I think of Hamilton, I think he's not had a bad season, but not a single podium when your teammate has 40-ish points off and you get beat by him consistently in qualifying. He's chatted in interviews and he's telling the interviewer he's lost it and he's dog shit. So I'm going to put Hamilton in 14th, and I don't do it with a smile on my face. See? No smile. Then I'm going to put... It's so hard with this Aston Martin car because I just don't know where it is pace-wise, and the fact that they're on the same points is really jarring me out. I'm going to put... Who are the options? It's either Hadjar's going here. You know what? I'm going to put Ocon. I hate having Ocon over Hamilton. I'm putting Hamilton 13th and Ocon 14th. And that sounds like bullshit. Right now I'm stalling so I can think of a reason why I'm doing this. I just can't have Ocon above Hamilton. Sorry, that boils my blood. Ocon's my least favorite driver. I'm putting Ocon 14th because Ocon is on 27 points. I'll give you that, and his teammate is on 8. And Behrman, I wouldn't even class as a full-blown rookie either, even though he is, because he's had 3-4 races testing in that Ferrari when Sainz was getting his appendix ripped out, however, and his tonsils and everything else. But I don't know. I just feel like from memory, there's been a decent amount of races where Behrman has been at it and he's out-qualified him. And Ocon's been in this sport for a minute, man. And sure, he's beaten his teammate by about 18 points. Let's look at some of Ocon's races here. 13th, 5th, 18th, 8th, 14th, 12th, 7th, 16th, 9th, 10th, 13th, 15th, 16th. The last 4 races, not amazing, but he is actually doing a decent job. But, I don't know. I mean, Hamilton's had decent races as well. He's had decent races as well. And he is in a Ferrari. You know, they'll fuck you over a strategy. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't have Hamilton finishing below Ocon. Then I think I'm going to put Alonso. I think it is damning stuff to be on the same amount of points as Stroll. Something's gone horribly wrong. If you look at the past seasons, the gap between Alonso and Stroll is usually the second biggest, only behind Verstappen and whoever his teammate is. That is worrying stuff that you've dropped off to the point where Stroll's on top. And maybe Stroll's just got better. I don't know if I buy that. I'm going to put Alonso in 12th. And I'm going to put Stroll in 11th. I think it's only fitting to put them directly next to each other because they are in the standings. I still haven't placed Hadjar yet. Hadjar is actually 13th in the standings. I'm up to 10th now. Is this where I place Hadjar? Hadjar's got 22 points. Hülkenberg has 37 points. To be honest, the gap between Hadjar and his teammate is only 2 points. You could say it's outrageous to have him this high, but I'm going to put Hadjar in here. Hadjar is a rookie himself, and his teammate's a rookie, and there's a 2-point gap. I just think Hulkenberg is in ninth, and he got his first podium this year, which is fucking beautiful stuff. There's about about a 15 point gap, 15 to 20 point gap between him and his rookie teammate. And to be fair, in recent races, I feel like Bortolo's actually been, throwing it back. Well, I was gonna say throwing it back on Hulkenberg, but that sounds mad. But but still, no. I think Hulkenberg is having another good season. That put Hulkenberg in ninth. It's like, well, now it's between Hulkenberg, unless I want to chuck Norris in down here and get really fucking aggy about it. Um, I mean, Antonelli's here as well. Because at the moment, if I have Antonelli in ninth above Hadjar, I'm saying Antonelli's been the best rookie. And I don't think he has. I think Hadjar's been the best rookie. So I'm actually going to put Hadjar in ninth. And I'm going to put Antonelli in 10th. Antonelli's been hot and cold. And I think he is the most talented rookie. But I think so far Hadjar's been better. And I'm not going to fact check that. I'm just going to move on. Then I'm going to put Hulkenberg in 8th. Am I? I am. He has seemed a bit more fallible recently, being able to be failed by his teammate, which seemed sort of impossible at points near the beginning. Maybe that's bullshit. I'm going to put Hulkenberg in 8th. Who have we got left? We've got Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, that's 5. Bob's in 7 spots. Albon still. And who the fuck else? I've got 7 spots left. Who have I missed someone? Who's getting a massive promotion and I just forgot? Have I missed like Duan or someone? Now they're up here in 7th. Ocon I've done. No, I haven't. That you can't use that and call. Albon, I haven't. Antonelli. Wait, Albon, Antonelli, Leclerc. Okay, yeah, that's everyone. So next. Oh no, Antonelli I put 10th. Fuck it, who cares? If I forgot about you, clearly you've not had a great season. Next, above Hulkenberg. Basically, out of the drivers I can see left, I think I've got to say how it is. I'm going to put Norris. And as I have it written, Norris is now 7th. Norris is second in the standings. He's only 8 points behind his teammate, but he's in the first 3 races, right? Or however many it was. Norris finished first, second, third. Let's see where Piastri finished. Piastri finished 9th first, 3rd first. Okay? So he was comfortably behind Norris for the simple fact that Norris won the first race and Piastri finished 9th. And then moving on from there, Norris was always on the podium. Piastri did pick up 2 wins, but the first place really fucked him up points wise. He had a decent gap, and then moving on from there, Piastri just went on a little tear. First, third, first, third, first, and he didn't finish outside. Well, apart from the first race, he went on a streak of not finishing outside of the podium for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races. And if we look at Norris, comparatively speaking, it was pretty consistent, but pretty consistently behind his teammate. In that stretch of races where Piastri's going first, third, first, Norris is going second, third, fourth, second. Obviously, all of those seconds are to Piastri. The DNF really killed him. Bad move. To be fair, in recent races, though, if you actually look at it, he has gone first, second, first. Austria, Great Britain, Belgium, and Hungary. He's gone first, second, first. That is impressive. That is impressive stuff. So it makes me think, am I being harsh? But then I think of the amount of times where he was like, you got to think qualifying wise when he was first to qualify, and he just goes back consistently. I feel like when I watch the start of the race, if Piastri is first, he's probably going to keep it unless Verstappen's directly behind him. And then that's the only time I'm ever worried. And if he's second, I'm always, or third or fourth, I'm always confident he's going to gain places on lap 1. And with Norris, I will take him just not losing places on lap 1. I think that says a lot. And you can lose so much points at the end of the race and so much over the course of the season by fucking up on the first race, because you go from putting pressure on your teammate who's just ahead of you to having to gain back what you lost. And somehow that's what you had to do in Hungary, and it worked out just by doing the one stop. But like, that isn't reliable. That's not sustainable to do something like that over the whole season. It worked for Hungary, but that ain't a consistent thing. Like his recent form, first, second DNF, first, second, first, is good, and the gap is only 8 points. I think that's the lowest it's been since it got beyond eight. I don't think it's been as this close as since it's gone beyond that, if that makes sense. But I just think there's been so many points left on the table. Like, even if you look at some of these results, then they're not horrible. His lowest result outside of DNFing is fourth in Saudi Arabia. But from what I remember just from memory, is that these fourths, these thirds, these seconds, they weren't good seconds. They weren't good thirds. They were thirds losing out on a second. They were the kind of positions like, in some of these races, I can't remember the ones exactly, when he finished third, that wasn't a good result because he was second. The person who was second was like George Russell or someone who he should have caught, but he took too long trying to get past a Leclerc or someone, and it meant he didn't have enough time at the end of the race to get that George. And like, I just think as someone who has comfortably beat his teammate the two prior years, it's kind of, and maybe this is just cope, but it's unbelievable to me that Piastri has just made that much of a jump to now all of a sudden be like very confident in being able to beat him in qualifying and stuff. Piastri, that is, being able to beat Norris. Like, let alone race pace and stuff, but the fact he can consistently beat him in qualifying and then just has this crazy pace in the race, that's all well and good. But Norris being able to consistently beat his teammate the first 2 years, especially that second year. I mean, these were years where the car's been very quick and very competitive. I don't think something's massively changed. I think maybe it's changed in a slight way where maybe it suits Piastri a little bit more. But to me, it just reads more as a mentality thing. Now knowing you've got it all to play for and being a bit more worried and a bit more cautious, you're not. I feel like basically what I'm trying to say is I feel like Norris, they've met in the middle. Piastri's got better, sure, but Norris has regressed a little bit. And I think I've seen that because I never used to look at Norris and go, that's a guy who's bad on the start. But I think he's probably a driver who's good on the start if he's in the midfield. Because I never used to worry about it back when the car was a little bit worse. But he's not great from a start where there's shit to play for. And when I look at these other drivers here, do I think he's been better, pound for pound, than Verstappen, than Leclerc, than George Russell? I don't think I can say that. And it's harsh because he's second and he's only 8 points off. But I think when you've actually watched the races, I think that's fair enough. And I'm being harsh because he's my guy. He's my guy. Just above Norris, probably going to put Albon. Albon's had a great season. I think he deserves that. He slapped up Carlos Sainz. I basically did most of my Albon praise when I was shit talking Sainz. But I'll put Albon in sixth. Fifth, I'll go Verstappen. Is that too low for Verstappen? I feel like Leclerc's really been done well. I feel like Leclerc's done really well. I'm gonna just go Verstappen because I'm bored of just having to pretend like Verstappen's like a god just because he beats all his teammates and stuff, and like it's just boring. Like it's too like up in the air to try and guess where the car is and where he is compared to his teammate, and it's just like too confusing to think about. Whereas to me, it's what's not confusing is going Leclerc and Russell have been so good, I think, this season. I'm going to put Leclerc below Russell. I'm going to put Leclerc fourth, Russell third, and Piastri first. Well, second, because I've forgotten someone. But I'm going Piastri, Russell, Leclerc as my top three drivers of the season so far, in that order. So I've ranked Piastri, I've ranked Norris, I've ranked Verstappen, I've ranked Russell, I've ranked Leclerc, I've ranked Hamilton. Yeah, I've ranked Antonelli. Yeah, I've ranked Albon, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Alonso, yes. Stroll, yes. Hadjar, yeah. Gasly. I didn't put Gasly in. Okay, that makes sense. So Gasly, where did I say Gasly's going to go? I think he goes above Antonelli, below Hadjar. Where did I put Gasly? I don't remember. So I'm going to try and figure out now. Do I think he's had a better season than Alonso? Yes. Do I think Gasly's had a better season than Stroll? Yes. Do I think Gasly's had a better season than Antonelli? Antonelli has been on the podium this season. I'll put Gasly just below Antonelli, which means my ranking goes. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but I can't be asked to think about this anymore. I'm so fucking tired. My ranking goes in last place Doohan, in 20th Colapinto, in 19th Behrman, in 18th Lawson, in 17th Sainz, in 16th Sonoda, in 15th Portoletto, in 14th Ocon, in 13th Hamilton, in 12th Alonso, in 11th Stroll, in 10th Gasly, in 9th Antonelli, in 8th Hadjar, in 7th Hulkenberg, in 6th Norris, in 5th Albon, in 4th Verstappen, in 3rd Leclerc, in 2nd Russell, and in 1st Piastri. Russell and Leclerc have been those guys who just keep popping up on the podium, keep being that third man who just keeps getting to show up to the party with a little drink in his hand, chill guy, and just like where'd they come from? And they've just been showing up. They've been making most of mid cars and really being those guys. Really being what I think Norris is good at. Is like being a guy in a car that's like the 2nd, 3rd best most weekends and just getting on the podium. Difference is, I think in Norris's situation, both of them would be doing better. That's Norris's issue for me. And in first, Piastri, obviously. He's winning the championship. He's been slapped up by this teammate the past 2 seasons and he's managed to close the gap immensely to the point where it's looking like he could be the guy to win McLaren this championship when they've been waiting a minute for it. It's been building up for it to be Norris. Norris has been at this team. He's been so loyal to this team. He's been there from being a rookie. He's slowly got better and better. With each season, he's got better. He's scored more points. He's beaten all his teammates. Not Sainz, but you know, how he's taken down Ricciardo and people say that's probably not going to happen. And he's been comfortably beating Piastri. And it's got to the nitty gritty and it's looking like it'll be Piastri. It's looking like that, but it ain't going to happen because I still believe in you, Lando boy. And come the second half of the season, Lando Norris will prevail. And my score will go up from giving Norris 6th in this to number 1. That's the hope anyway. We got odds on, we're going to the end. Thank you very much. It is well beyond midnight, you can probably tell. And Dankeschön.